Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone, and welcome to this live session on guidelines regarding assignment writing. My name is Yasmin Tour, and I am responsible for research and project coordination here at the International Open University. Jazakallah khairan in advance for joining this live session. Can you just quickly let me know if my audio is clear, and then we can proceed and dive right into the session. Is my audio clear? Okay, Alhamdulillah. So I am going to ask all of you to have a pen and paper ready to take some notes, because this is not going to be a very lengthy presentation with lots of slides and lots of, writing on the slides. I'm going to be diving into things a little bit more technically. There's going to be less material on the slides and um, more things that I'm going to talk to you about. So it's good for you to take notes, which is also one of the essential skills that make a good writer, is to be able to take notes. Okay, so we are going to dive right in to the contents of this session. So we are going to look at things that you need to do before starting the assignment. Then we are going to look at the general structure of an academic assignment, what to do and what not to do when writing an academic assignment, tips to help improve your academic writing if you're a beginner, tips to enable you to go to a little bit of an advanced level, and if you are a little bit in the intermediary stage, then to help to enhance your academic writing skills to the next level. Then we're going to talk about plagiarism briefly and proper referencing in your assignments. Then we are also going to cover the use of AI, because this is an emerging thing that students have, an emerging tool that did not exist like maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but now students, they are challenged with the existence of AI tools, and they can be used for good and for bad when it comes to doing assignments. It could either be, beneficial for you, or it could also be detrimental for your learning process. So we're going to talk about that. And then at the end of the session, we are going to have a short question and answer segments where you can send in any questions you might have, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So going to the first things to do before writing the assignment or starting the assignment. So you know that at the IOU, you have an academic calendar. So the dates when your assignment questions will be released are given in that academic calendar, naturally. So even before those assignment questions are released, even before you know that it's going to be assignment week or assignment month, there is something that you essentially need to do. If you're new to the self-paced or online study environment where you are going to be holding yourself accountable for, achieving all the milestones in time, covering all the modules before, the midterm, and then the post-midterm modules before the final term exam, it is essential that you are very good with time management, actually. And time management in a sense that you are enrolled in, let's say, if you're part-time or if you're full-time, you are enrolled in, let's say, as few as 3 to maybe as many as 6 courses in a semester. So each course is going to have an assignment coming out on the designated date as per your academic calendar. And you have your modules to cover, you have your lectures to listen to, you have your concepts to go through, all the topics to understand, which is going to take time. So making sure that you're a little bit ahead of the schedule in order to be able to take out some extra time when the assignment questions hit is something that I always tell students to do, simply because it can get a little overwhelming, you know, when you are a first timer in the online learning environment and you have all those things to do as well as assignments to submit in the deadline. So this is very important. Time management is very important. So make sure that you are a little bit ahead on your modules so you can spare extra time to, really dive into the assignments and get them done nicely, because it's going to be your first time if you are in the first semester, or even if you are in one of the later semesters. This is going to be a valuable thing that you can do for yourself in order to be able to tackle things more efficiently later on when the assignments will finally come out. So another thing that I want to talk about before we actually get into the process of starting the assignment when it does come out is the intention. So since you are on this journey of being a student of knowledge or becoming a student of knowledge, it's very important that you have a certain intention when you are, sitting down to study, to do these assignments, to enhance your knowledge. It should be in line with the Islamic values for the sincerity and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should do all this not just to, achieve a certain milestones or get a piece of paper at the end of your degree and to be able to pursue a certain career, but it also should be in order to make you into a more knowledgeable member of the Ummah. And your intention should be to learn and to be able to transfer what you have learned to other members of your community when the time comes. So intention is very important. So if you have the right intention and the right mindset going into your semester in general and your assignments in particular, then everything that you are going to do, all the stress that you are going to go through when you are doing the assignments, is going to count as worship, inshallah, and you will be rewarded for it, and things will be made easy for you, because simply because you are going into this with the right intention. So the aims of this session in particular are to talk about the importance of developing good writing skills, to understand what academic assignments really are, what the structure of an academic assignment is, and how to plan and execute these assignments. So, what is the point of, giving these assignments to students? It's to enable you to read, to improve your research, to enable you to investigate and evaluate, facts about certain concepts or certain topics. It also serves for you to clarify your thinking, because writing makes you focus, and it also reinforces your learning. So you will see during the course of your study that assignment questions mostly do come from concepts touched in your course. So it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly a chunk of a broader topic that you already covered, but it could also be something that, relates to the concepts that you went through in your course, and it would, prompt you to analytically think about what you have learned and apply that thinking to do a critical analysis of a statement or a hypothesis, or it could be anything. So it really serves to, widen your thinking and clarify your process of learning. And it also enables you to evaluate yourself. So there are different types of writing you've maybe come across in your earlier years as a student. You've come across different types in your, study. You might have written, simple essays, or you've done maybe reports of some sort, or maybe you've written book summaries as part of your, simple English communication if you have gone to college before this. And maybe some of you who are at the master's level have done a thesis or a mini project at your bachelor's level already. Maybe you've written, literature reviews or research articles or review articles. So these are all different things that come under, academic writing. So your assignments are going to be a mix of these, depending on what courses you're taking, what stream you're in. So it really depends what you are learning at the moment. Okay, so going on to the actual assignment. So when your assignment comes out, we have a general structure, most academic assignments broadly consist of an introduction, okay, and then you have the main body, and then you have the conclusion. So as you approach your assignment, you need to analyze your assignment question first and foremost. So analyzing the assignment question is going to help you clarify the task, understand what is being asked. So it will also help you to understand what is being required of you in that assignment, what aspects you need to cover, and it's also going to help you to in your mind, and then later on, maybe a rough paper or something, develop an outline to make sure that you stay relevant to the topic or the, statement that is being asked of you to be evaluated in that assignment. So analyzing the question is to identify the subject, identify the instructions that come along with your academic assignment. So along with your academic assignment, there will come instructions such as your word limit, which you're not supposed to go over or be under. There's going to be a minimum word count or a maximum word count. So you have to make sure to adhere to those instructions. You have to look at what formatting requirements you're given, what font size you're going to use, what margins you are going to use. So these are all things that are going to come along with your assignment question. So it's really important to actually sit down and read through the assignment question, understand, look at all the instructions given, and then actually go into the assignment process. So identifying the key aspects of the assignment, identify what you already know about the topic or the assignment that's being asked of you, because sometimes it might be something that you are completely new to, so you don't know anything about it. Sometimes it might be something that you already have an opinion about, or you already have gone through a couple of modules that have touched the subject in the corresponding course. So you are able to identify the things that you already know and what's missing, so what you have to look for. And then you are able to identify relevant sources of information that you're going to go to, which can be online libraries, the research articles, online articles. Maybe you can go back to some of your course books or your lecture notes to, look at the concept that's being taken apart as part of your assignment. So these are all things that you are going to do before the actual writing process starts. So these are all, analytical things that will help you to determine things. Coming to the actual structure, as I said, and as you can see on the screen, you have the introduction, you have the main body, and then you have the conclusion. In the introduction, you generally are asked to explain how you understand the question. You identify the main issues that your assignment is going to explore, and you will be giving a brief outline of what you are going to write and in which order. So, for example, if your assignment question has a couple of concepts or keywords, you are going to basically prepare an theoretical framework to prepare the reader for what's going to come in the main body. So if we are looking at length, for example, if you have a word limit of 2,000 words for your assignment, your introduction is going to be roughly 200 to 400 words. So this is the relative length that the introduction is supposed to be covering in your assignment. So coming to the main body, which is the essence of your academic assignment, is to make sure that you follow the structure that you gave in your introduction. You build up arguments. The main body usually consists of a couple of paragraphs, so it's always good to, divide your main body into paragraphs depending on what aspect of your assignment you are covering within the main body. Then you can state your position, sum up your argument. Then you can present relevant evidence to back up your arguments. If there are any facts or any analyses of other writers, of other scholars that are in opposition or in support of your argument, you can present those logically and chronologically. Then you can use the end of each paragraph to slowly develop the argument to move on to the next point. And it's always good to start a fresh paragraph when you're moving on to a fresh point within your assignment. So make sure that you're writing critically. You examine the academic assignment, break it into parts, you identify the causes and effects to the statement that's being presented. Provide evidence, provide examples, draw connections, comparisons, contrasts, and provide reasons for the arguments that you are giving in your assignment. And make sure that one paragraph is related to the next so that there is coherence. Make also sure that you are using, reputable sources like journals, reports, ebooks, or other published sources. Don't go for, random websites or blogs or, stuff like that. It's always necessary to have academically sound sources cited when you are attempting to write an academic assignment. After the main body comes the conclusion. So the conclusion usually summarizes the most important points that you have given in the main body. You also explain how these points answer the question in the title of your assignment, or the assignment question overall. And then you can also, at the end of the conclusion, state in your own opinion why you agree or sometimes also disagree with the main issues raised by the evidence that you presented in the main body. So once again, the introduction is going to be relatively short. The main chunk of your assignment is going to be the main body, and then the conclusion is also going to be size-wise as much as your introduction is. So once again, for an assignment of 1,500 to 200 words, where your introduction is going to be roughly, let's say on average, 250 to 300 words, 400 words at most, then your conclusion is also going to be 200, 250, or maybe even 300 words. So this is the general structure of an academic assignment, at least in your earlier semesters. This is not a reference for your thesis or your dissertation, which is going to be a part of your final semesters, or your eighth semester if you are in the bachelor's, or the last 1 or 2 semesters if you are in a master's degree here at the university. So theses are different. They have more chapters. It's more thorough research. It's more elaborate. But this is the general structure of an academic assignment, which is anywhere from 1,200 to, let's say, 2,000 or maybe 2,500 words at most. So these are the 3 parts. Moving on. Talking about academic writing style. So there are things that you should be doing, and there are things that you need to avoid. So the language is the first and foremost difference between a normal essay that you might write as part of your, let's say, English a lesson in high school, and an academic assignment at the level of university. So academic writing styles are critical, they are objective and well balanced. Your language should be formal, so there's no informality, no slang. So avoid abbreviations. Um, Write out all the words in full, except if you are, referencing a certain maybe organization or something, then you can use abbreviations after you have at least one time fully mentioned the name, and then you can refer to that organization or that concept in the rest of your assignment. For example, if you are writing an assignment on the International Open University, you would introduce the International Open University in full with its proper name, and then you could talk about it as the IOU in the rest of your, assignment. But in general, when you're writing, don't use any abbreviations. For example, did not, didn't, is not, isn't, like such type of abbreviations are highly disliked in formal academic writing. Also, avoid impersonal speech and personal pronouns. So for example, if you are, even if it's your own opinion, you don't write I suggest or I think. Always, write it write it like passively. For example, if you want to convey your opinion about it, about a certain, concept, you, rather than writing I suggest, you can write it can be suggested. Or if a certain writer has expressed, thoughts about something, you don't say a man called this and that had this and that opinion about this. Rather, you use the first name and then the year of publication in brackets. So these are some things that are going to be different from your standard essay that you've been writing in school and you've been writing in college. Also, avoid redundancy. Redundancy is, repetition of similar words. Your writing should be clear, concise, and it shouldn't be in a way that makes the reader, or in that case, your instructor who is going to check your assignment, wonder why the same words keep on repeating themselves. While it's a good thing to have, a good flow between your paragraphs, avoid repeating the same concepts and the same words in the subsequent sections of your assignment. Sometimes this is what students do if they are running out of things to write, and just for the sake of, filling up the space or reaching that minimum word limit. Repetition is something that students will do, but this is highly discouraged, and it's something that will result in a loss of marks for you. Also, numbers, usually when you are writing, numbers are written in full. So for example, if you want to write that, for example, 31% of a certain population have agreed with something or disagreed with something, you are going to write out numbers in full, like in words rather than in numerals. So this is also something that is different from a normal writing as opposed to academic writing. Also, avoid bullet points in your assignments. Write in full sentences, group them together, use commas or conjunctions if you need to. Avoid using overly long sentences, but instead of giving bullet points, it's better to, use a longer sentence and, convey what you want to convey. Also use short paragraphs, because the clearer your ideas, the better grouped your ideas, the more coherent your assignment is going to look as a whole. So if you have any questions up till this point, I see that there are questions coming in. So for the sake of just maintaining the flow, I suggest, even if you have questions, you can type them into your chat box, but I am going to be answering any questions at the end of the session in the question answer section of our live session, inshallah. So please bear with me while I go through this first, and then I am going to, come to your questions, because I see a couple of questions pouring in. Okay, moving on. Tips to help with academic writing in general. So it's very normal that you are going to be overwhelmed going into this if it's your first time. And it's going to, at some point, feel like you have maybe writer's block, or you don't know where you are going to start, how you're going to structure your assignment, and how you are going to, pull everything together, given the fact that you have not only one, but several assignments to complete. So it's always good to, switch between assignments. So what I personally used to do, and what I've seen good writers do if they are working on multiple projects, and treat every assignment as your mini project. So if you have 6 assignments, each of these assignments is a project. Okay, so it's good to be organized. So have maybe whatever you prefer. Some of you might still go the old route, prefer, a pen and, maybe a journal with, sections. You can have a journal with 6 different sections, and you can label each of those sections for your assignment. Assignment 1, your different courses. And what you are going to do is for example, if you're starting with assignment number one, so the first thing that you are going to do is obviously look at the assignment question, analyze what you know, what you don't know, what material you need. Then you're going to go online. You're going to look for ebooks, articles. You're going to look for material that you can read through, so that you can, gather some insight on the topic. So you actually have something to write. Okay. So if you are going for online resources, it's always good to have folders, dedicated folders for each of your assignments. And in those folders, download everything systematically. So you don't have to, go back online and, look for materials or sift through, heaps and heaps of saved files that are unorganized in the middle of your writing process. So it's good to do these things before actually starting. And once you have downloaded, for example, for assignment number one, everything is in the folder. You have done your reading, sorry, you have done your reading. You have somewhat of a concept of what you are going to do. So it's always good to develop a rough outline, things you want to be touching. You can always use points in your journal, or if you are somebody who does that in a notes app on your iPad or something, if you are one of those digital people that prefer the digital version, you can make those digital lists, make your outlines, and then start writing in accordance with the outline that you developed. And if at some point you somehow get stuck, instead of sitting a couple of days on that one assignment, it's always good to switch to another assignment of another course, start fresh. And once you have your brain focused on a different topic, going through a different course, a different assignment, within writing the second or maybe the third assignment, it's most likely that something related to the first assignment will come to your mind, and then you can quickly switch and go back and write that down so you don't forget it. So our mind tends to work that way. So if, for example, if I have a list of things that I want to do today and I forget half of it, then in the midst of something totally irrelevant, it would, jump to the front of your mind very unexpectedly. So this tends to happen with ideas when you're writing as well. So it could be a process to learn to collect your ideas, organize them. So if you are still in the very first semester, or maybe the first or second semester, this is going to take some time for you to be able to organize these things in your mind or on paper and your iPad. But it's always good to, switch between assignments rather than, let's say, taking up a huge chunk of time to go systematically with assignment number one, then complete it, then move on to two, then move on to three. If you are starting all your assignments side by side and go back and forth, switch from one to five. And if you're stuck in five, you can switch back to assignment number four. If you're stuck with four, you can switch to assignment number six. So you have all your assignments progressing side by side. This is more time saving, and it is better for the actual functioning of your brain. The diversity or the division is good for the working of your brain. So when it comes to the actual writing, use active voice. Okay. Mix it up in terms of punctuation. All your sentences shouldn't be sounding exactly the same. Vary your sentence structure so that it has a feel of a little bit of an elevation. So it doesn't really, upon reading, sound like a fifth grader or a 10th grader wrote that assignment. And avoid choppiness. So there are multiple ways to convey something, so you should be wise with your words, avoid your repetition. You should also be concise. And what some students actually do, when they are in university, and with the concept in mind that academic writing is supposed to be very, let's say, difficult or confusing, they start using language or words or vocabulary that they don't actually know the meaning of. And that actually ends up in your sentence being wrong meaning wise. So throwing in fancy or big words into your assignment when you don't really know what those words mean is going to cost you, and it's going to affect your grade and the look of your assignment overall. So use the vocabulary that you know, but side by side, also work on expanding your vocabulary as you progress through your assignments or through your courses and your degree. So let's say the word, um, the the vocabulary of words that you have at the beginning of your journey, let's say in semester 1, you should be having more vocabulary in semester 3, but don't use vocabulary that you are unsure of. So this is something that is essential. Also, with academic writing, it's always good to do much reading before actually starting the writing. So if you look at how other writers have approached a certain topic, if you look at research articles, if you analyze the language, there is a lot to learn actually. So not necessarily just for your assignments, but in general, as part of your student journey, do a lot of reading related to, your courses. There are your course notes, there are your course books, and then you also have supplementary reading material. So make use of those supplementary reading materials to widen your vocabulary and to expand your command over the language in general, because it is going to get more difficult by a certain degree as you progress to the advanced semesters of your degree. So having a little bit of expertise moving forward with reference to your previous semester is always going to be something that will work in your favor. Okay. Something else is not to go over your maximum words, to summarize this, your references at the end, or your abstract, if there is an abstract required as part of your assignment, those things do not count. So your introduction, your main body, and your conclusion, those three are the things that are going to be counted as your word limit. So don't go over the maximum words, don't be under the minimum words, don't use unnecessary or weak ideas, and always check your assignment before handing it in. So these are some tips to help you with academic writing in general. Moving on, since we now briefly mentioned references or sources or the reading that you are going to be doing before your assignment. So naturally, you're not expected to know by yourself everything that comes in your assignment questions. You are going to be consulting books, you are going to be consulting articles, maybe you're going to consult certain lectures from a scholar, or maybe your course material or something. So there are going to be things, materials, maybe facts. If we look at the Islamic sciences, there are going to be verses from the Quran, or a hadith that you are going to have to use to support your argument in your assignment. So citing those let's say those facts or maybe findings from other scholars, or verses from the Quran or a hadith, those are materials that are not your intellectual property. So in academic writing, if you are using something in your assignment that is not your own, you actually have to provide a proper reference, where it came from and who it belongs to. So this is called referencing. So the opposite of referencing is plagiarism. It's when you copy somebody's material and you don't give them credit. So plagiarism is something that is unethical, and it will also result in you losing your grade. So if you are using somebody else's material, or if you are, for example, citing something out of a book that you consulted, you have to reference it. So there are repercussions if you have a certain percentage of plagiarism in your assignment. So when you upload your assignment to the portal, it will give you a percentage of plagiarism. So as per policy, your plagiarism shouldn't be more than ideally 20%. Anything below 20% is actually pretty good. If your assignment is, however, more than 50% plagiarized, then there are going to be penalties. I think that this is even going to lead to the rejection of your assignment, or even in a zero in terms of a grade. So you have to be very careful. There is a plagiarism checker that is built in to the platform where you are going to upload your assignment for each course in each semester. So it's going to detect if you copied from somebody and did not cite it properly. You didn't reference it properly. So avoiding plagiarism is something very important for you when doing your assignments. So coming to the proper referencing in your assignments. So there are two types of referencing in your assignment. There are going to be in-text citations, and there is going to be a reference list at the end. So for the most part, you will already have, as part of your assignment question and the guidelines that come with it, you will be required to use a certain referencing style. So we have different referencing style. You might be familiar with some of them, or maybe this is new for you. So if there are any questions related to referencing in particular, you are most welcome to paste them in the chat box. So we have APA, we have Harvard, we have Chicago, we have MLA. These are the most commonly used ones. As far as my knowledge goes, APA style will be the most heavily used one in your assignments and in your research here at the IOU. You will have on your course page a manual for the APA style, or maybe a reference assignment or a reference guideline. So each referencing style actually has certain things that you need to stick to. For example, the font, the size of headings, the size of the main text, your margins, how you are going to do your in-text citations, the format of your end of assignment reference list. And some referencing styles have footnotes, others don't. So these are all things that you would need to look at. The best thing to do is find out what referencing style is required for you to use in your assignments. Look at the latest manual of that referencing style. It should be provided to you on your course page. If, however, due to some reason you don't find it, you can always ask the instructor of the relevant course to provide it to you. And then look at all the format and rules that that particular referencing style uses, and then try to apply those in your assignment. So properly referencing in your assignment consists of using in-text citations within your paragraphs if you are citing anything from anyone else than yourself. And then when you have done your assignment, at the end, you have a reference list where all of your in-text citations are actually mentioned in full. So in-text citations are generally just the author's name and the year of publication in parentheses, nothing else. And at the end of your assignment, the reference list actually has the complete reference, which includes the author, the publication year, the publication house, the title of the work of the author, and if it's a journal, the issue, the volume, and the URL of that journal. The proper format for each type of reference is given in those manuals when you download them. Also make sure that in your assignments, if, for example, you have used 15 different types of in-text citations from different authors, then your reference list must also have all those 15 in-text citations. So you have to cross-check if your end of reference list actually matches with all the in-text citations that come in your assignment. So this is very important. Okay, coming on to the use of AI. So AI is something that wasn't there, let's say 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I was a student, or when the people that are even senior to me were students. So we had to, sift through material. We had to, sit down and actually do some brainstorming, use our logic and, formulate frameworks for our assignments. But the emergence of AI has actually made it much easier to, create, for example, outlines in seconds, to even, you can write prompts into AI chatbots to let them create, whole assignments for you. But every university nowadays, and the IAU as well, has an AI policy, and the plagiarism checking software actually also checks your assignment for AI generated content. So while you are allowed to use AI to maybe give you ideas or bullet points for your assignment, maybe you can use AI to, collect certain ideas in a single place, easily read them, understand what the topic is about. You are not allowed to copy paste AI generated content in your assignment. So use AI to help your brain make a theoretical framework. Don't replace AI and, stop using your own analytical powers to, construct your assignment. There are an infinite number of AI tools you can use, but it's highly, highly discouraged to use AI to such an extent that there is no creativity or there is no input from yourself in the process of putting together the assignment, because it is supposed to be something that will make you learn. So if you're going to let AI do all the work for you, A, it's going to hinder your learning process. B, you're going to get lazy over time. C, the content is going to be flagged in the system. And D, it will make you lose your grade. And depending on the percentage of AI generated content in your assignment, it can also lead to the rejection of your assignment completely. So use AI to your advantage. Don't let it become a disadvantage for you. So this is very important. So what I like to tell students is, for example, if it's a certain topic, you can use AI, ask AI to provide you a couple of examples so you understand what's being asked of you. But you have to use your own thinking to be able to then follow and form your own arguments that you can present in your assignment. The same goes with the overall language and sentence structure. AI has a certain ring to it, so all of your instructors are going to be able to identify if you copy paste it from AI, because AI doesn't have that human touch. It lacks that personality. If you read through AI generated content, it doesn't have personality. It might have all the facts, it might have all the statistics, all the concepts, all the theoretical frameworks, but it does lack that, personal touch. And that personal touch is what is going to separate each and every one of you, because you're going to be attempting the same assignment, all of you. If you are enrolled into a particular course and let's say you're 50 students, everybody's going to get the same assignment question. And everybody's going to write about the same thing. What will make you stand out? What will make you have a better grade than somebody else is if you personally are the better critical thinker, the better analyzer, and the better writer. The use of AI generated content is going to take the creativity away from you. So don't let AI do that. Use AI if you are stuck. Use it to provide material for you to read, but in the end, leave the ability of analysis for your brain and do the work yourself. So this is everything that I try to fit into this 1 hour session. If there is anything else, let's move on to the Q&A. So I already have lots of questions here, and I am going to be going to address these one by one. If you have more questions, just paste them ahead and I will get to them when I get to them. So I have a questions. How do you get the Turnitin app, please? So IOU does not provide you with a Turnitin app account per se. When you upload your draft to the system at the back end has a connection to the Turnitin, database, and it will analyze the plagiarism for you. But I suggest, if you are unsure about your plagiarism percentage as a whole in your assignment, if it's worth for you, get yourself a Turnitin subscription, or there's also a VeriSite. It's also a reliable platform. You can get Turnitin, you can get VeriSite. I think lots of apps these days, lots of plugins for your Microsoft Word, even like Grammarly, they have some kind of plagiarism checker plugins now installed, like it's all one big package. So there are a variety of softwares you can get for yourself, but IOU does not provide you with a Turnitin account credentials. So you can check your assignment. You have to check your assignment yourself. And for that also, I would avoid for you to use, those open-ended plagiarism checkers where you just upload your whole assignment copy-paste style to a certain, website, and then it gives you a plagiarism, analysis. If you want to check your plagiarism yourself before you actually upload your file to the system, then get one of those subscriptions if it's worth for you. Or maybe you can also ask your fellow course mates if anybody has a subscription, and maybe you can share an account with other students, but IOU does not give you the app or turn it in. Okay, moving on to the next question. Can we study an old assignment for reference even if they are not from the same topic? Of course. If you have an old assignment and you have remotely touched a certain, concept in it, you can study your old assignment. If you want to take something from your own, you can even create an in-text citation and mention yourself as the author and the year in which you did that assignment. And there is in all those manuals, the referencing style manuals, APA, for example, there are sections which will give you samples on how to, reference your own work. If it's, for example, assignment that you did 1 year ago, or maybe 6 months ago, or 2 months ago. So you can absolutely study an old assignment for reference. And let me also take a moment to mention two different things here. The end of reference list could be a reference list, and it could also be a bibliography. So the difference between a bibliography and a reference list is actually if you studied your old assignment, or if you just studied a book for reference. You didn't actually cite anything from it, but you just studied something in order to, clarify your own opinions, or in order to, refresh your own concepts. And then you end up writing something yourself inspired by the study you did. Then that is actually, that is going to be listed under your bibliography. So a bibliography is a list of sources you consulted, but not necessarily cited as it is. Whereas a reference list is a list of sources you actually took material from, cited it in your assignment, and then also referenced it, properly in text. Okay. Can we get a review for our assignment before we submit it? Review from whom? You are not allowed to share your assignment with fellows. You are not allowed to, do a group activity on your assignment. So everybody is supposed to do the assignment individually. You can, if you have questions regarding the direction your assignment is going in, you can ask questions from your instructor. Like, for example, I'm going into a particular direction, XYZ, or my argument against this is like this and that. Am I going into the right direction? And your instructors will be happy to guide you. But getting a review for your assignment before you submit it from other fellows is not something that you should be doing. It should be an individual exercise for you. Can we get the information about assignment from websites like Forest or other research websites? Okay, research websites and research articles are two different things. Make sure that whatever source you are consulting is academically sound and verified. I don't recommend taking any material from open-ended, blogs or websites that, mention multiple, writers. It's always good to stick to your ebooks. It's good to stick to your research articles from journals, from reputable journals, of course. Review articles, conference proceedings, published scholarly work, could be a book summary, could be, book chapters, individual book chapters, or that kind of stuff. If you struggle with getting references for your work, for example, let's say you found 2 articles or 2 books that, match the topic that you are actually looking at. It's always good to go to the bibliography or the reference list of those articles or those books at the end. And you can directly, pick a couple of articles from there and then put them into Google and, get those articles if you struggle to get material. You can use Google Scholar to specifically search for, research articles. Google Scholar also does create citations for you. There are also a couple of softwares that you can use. For example, Mendeley has a referencing software. EndNote is a referencing software package that lets you create reference lists, libraries, citations, and all that stuff. So it actually helps you cite while you write. So you don't lose your references when you're writing. It keeps you organized. So there are a lot of different resources that you can use in order to organize your references in your assignments. Okay, can we take case studies from websites? Then again, the authenticity of the website is the thing you are going to question. If you're taking a case study from a research article that was published on a journal website, like a research journal, that is something authentic. But if you are taking a case study from a random blog or a random website, then the authenticity of that material comes into question. What are the best search engines that should be used? Okay, the most widely searched engine is actually Google. So you can use Google Scholar, uh, something in general. If you have trouble searching content for your assignment question, I have seen that students actually do paste the assignment question into Google as a whole, as it is. And that really leads to you not getting enough search results that match your search. It's always good to break your assignment question into segments, focusing on the different keywords, and then separately search for material related to those keywords. That way, actually, more material turns up, and you get more sources that you can look at. Okay. The formatting of the assignment are not defined by IUU. The formatting of the assignment is actually defined by IUU. When you download your assignment question, it will also come with your assignment guidelines. IUU will instruct you to use a certain formatting guide, a certain referencing guide, and you have to adhere to those rules. For example, if in a certain assignment you are asked to stick to the APA style of referencing, then you have to look at the APA manual and stick to the formatting guidelines of APA and apply those to your assignment. Next question is, I don't understand the format structure given. If you don't understand anything related to the formatting or the structure of your assignment, it's always good to direct your queries to the instructor of that particular course, and he or she will help you out, inshallah. If there are any intricacies with the research aspect of your assignment, make sure that you direct your query clearly, so that your instructor knows what you are actually struggling with, and they will guide you. Can you please mention some authentic sources or webs from where we can use for our assignment? Okay, so the IU provides you with an online library. So if you go to your dashboard, somewhere there is going to be a tab. You have access to an actually online library of ebooks. So use that resource that has been provided for you. Then, depending on what area your assignment falls in, search Google for, let's say, the top 50 most reputable research journals that covers those topics, and then search your articles from those individual journals. So that way you are always sure that your sources are authentic. You can also use authentic scholarly works for, assignments that are related purely to the Islamic sciences. So look at the different tafsir books, look at the different commentaries on the ahadith, look at the different books on the analysis of the Quran, and you can use the Darus Salam e-library. There is for Islamic books, I remember there is the Kalamullah library that has a huge selection of authentic scholarly books. Then you have, I think you would also have access to maybe the Oxford University Press on your dashboard, the IOU e-library, which has lots and lots of ebooks for you. But always make sure that it's not some random, you know, uh, some random website or some random, you know, news style article or something. It should always be an academic source. Okay, if an assignment that has more than one topic, should we separate them for each with their own introduction, body, and conclusion, or join them all in one in an introduction, body, and conclusion, and how? So if your assignment has more than one topic, it depends actually on the structure of your question. If you are asked two separate assignment questions and you are given two separate word limits, let's say 1500 for the first and 1500 for the second, then it's best to, split your assignment into two, have 1500 words dedicated to the first, have your introduction, your main body, and your conclusion for the first topic, and then move on to the second, have your introduction, your main body, and your conclusion. Sometimes your assignment question is a compound question where there are, multiple concepts touched in relationship to one another. And if your, assignment question comes in that kind of a style and you have, one word limit of, let's say, 2000 or 2500 words or even 1500 or 1800 words, then you are going to address the different concepts side by side in a single introduction, a single main body, and a single conclusion. It's almost always like that when those two different topics actually have something in common. And that is for you to explore. And that's why they occur in the same assignment. So then you will be sticking to one introduction, one main body, and one conclusion. But if there are, let's say, 2 or 3 separate assignment questions and you are required to address them separately, then please do so. Okay, the next question is there any specific referencing style slash... Like I said, when you download your assignment question, it will mention what style you should be sticking to. As far as I remember, most assignment questions are going to ask you to stick to APA. Maybe for some selective courses, the instructor might, prefer something different, or there might be something different mentioned on your assignment question when you download that paper. If there is nothing mentioned in terms of what referencing style or format you should be using, it's always good to be on the cautionary side and email your instructor to double check what style he or she would prefer. And once you have that information, then simply apply that one. Okay, no bullet points. Why? You can give bullet points if it's something that can't be avoided, but in academic writing, rather than bullet points, have it addressed as separate mini paragraphs with, headings. Or maybe you can even, within a paragraph, you can give, A, B, C, D. But don't use those bullet points, those black bullet points. Don't use those. They don't give a professional look. Just try avoiding those. Which AI tool is more applicable to check plagiarism percentage after the assignment is due? The best one out there actually is Turnitin. As I mentioned before, then we have VeriCite. There are various plugins as well for Microsoft Word that you can download and plug into, and it will check your content as you go. So, but Turnitin actually is the best one. And I think IOU also uses Turnitin at the back end of the system. Okay, next question. How do we cite the Quran and Hadith? So, Citing the Quran and Hadith. So when it comes to the Quranic verses and Hadith, it's always you have the Arabic text and you have the English text. So if your word count allows you to, you know, paste the Arabic text, it's a good look. It looks nice. Paste the Arabic, but sometimes um, pasting those additional characters will actually, cause you to go over the word limit. Then just stick to the English translation or transliteration. Put it in inverted commas because Quran and Ahadith, you can't change the words. It has to be pasted as it is. And then you can write in the brackets. If it's a Quranic verse, write in the brackets Al-Quran, chapter so and so, verse so and so. This is going to be your in-text citation. Okay. Likewise for a hadith, paste the text, inverted commas, and then in parentheses you have your book of hadith, for example, Muslim, Sahih Muslim, comma, and then you have the volume and the hadith number. This is going to be your in-text citation. But for your end of text, end of assignment reference list, you actually have to cite the specific book that you took it from. So for example, the Quran is in Arabic, right? But if you are going to use a translation, there is going to be a translation that you used from a certain publisher, right? You might be using the translation of Sahih International, and that might have been published by, let's say, Darussalam. You might be using the translation of Sir Pickthall, and it might be published by, let's say, maybe Cambridge or something. So you have to actually reference the specific book that you used when taking the translation, because you are going to take the English translation for your assignments one way or the other. So you have to reference that book actually in the particular style that is required of you. For example, in APA, you would be referencing it in the style that is needed, or if it's MLA or Harvard or something. So in text, you would just be reciting, citing Al-Quran, verse this, chapter this, verse this, and the hadith is going to be, let's say, Sahih Bukhari, volume, hadith number. That's enough for your in-text citation. But at the end of reference, you're going to, reference the proper book. Safe software to use for plagiarism checks. So I don't recommend any of those, open-ended, random websites where you just paste your whole text and you click and it analyzes your, similarity content for you. You should be sticking to those apps or those softwares that actually do require you to buy a subscription, because those are safe. So in the end, it depends. Do you have somebody who can, check it for you? Maybe you know somebody in your family, or maybe you have, if you are somebody who also works, if you have a student who also has a career on the side, maybe somebody in your at your workplace does have it and lets you use it, or otherwise, buy it for yourself. Turnitin also does have, I think, a limited number of days where you can try it for free. So I suggest, I think it's a 7-day free trial or maybe a 30-day free trial. I don't remember. So what you can do is finish up all your assignments, okay? Then use a certain email to create a free account and start that, 7-day free trial. And then within those 7 days, quickly, check all your plagiarism before your trial expires. And for the next semester, you can use a different email ID, create a different free trial account and use it within those 7 days. So this is something that you can do if you don't want to buy a proper subscription. You can use the free trial period and do all your plagiarism checks within those couple of days when you actually have finished all your assignments. And it's also very important to finish all your assignments way ahead of the deadline, so you have enough time to, proofread, recheck. Sometimes there might be something that you want to change in your assignment when you read through your assignment. I recommend reading through your assignment at least 2 to 3 times before, making your submission, and have at least 3 to 4 days um, till the submission deadline, because sometimes most of the students tend to try to upload their, assignments, and the website does get overloaded, and sometimes it might crash. It might cause the website to be extremely slow, for uploads to not take, and it could cause you to miss your deadline if you kept the uploading part for exactly the last day. So always have a couple of extra days at the end. Okay. How to choose or narrow down a topic. Okay, for your assignment, you actually get a specific assignment question, so you don't have to choose it yourself. You actually have, when your assignment questions are released, you actually do have your particular topic or particular question that is asked of you. So choosing a topic is something that you won't be required to do at the assignment level in your courses. Can we have an old assignment and do it together? Do it together as in do it together with your classmates, or have an old assignment and copy from one of your own assignments. So if you have an old assignment of yours and you copy paste from your old assignment as it is in your new assignment, it actually is going to show as plagiarism, because Turnitin does store your old files in its database. So if you want to take something from an old assignment, I suggest, if you want to take something, rephrase it, okay? Read through your assignment and then try to write that assignment fresh in your own words, again, so the sentence structure is a little bit different than what was in your old assignment, so it doesn't really get flagged as plagiarism from your previous assignment. Okay, the word count includes title page and bibliography. No, it doesn't. Your word count starts at the introduction and ends with the conclusion. Everything before the introduction, after the conclusion, does not include in your word count. Okay. Wanted to ask whether it's acceptable to use the content and findings from a literature review assignment later in my dissertation. Would this be considered self-plagiarism? No. As long as it's something from you, something original, your APA manual or whatever referencing style you're using, there are guidelines for you to reference your own work. If it's published, it's a different guideline. If you are using unpublished work from yourself, then there is also a guideline on how to reference that work. So you can reference your own work and it's not going to be plagiarism. However, like I said before in the other question that came, make sure not to actually paste everything from your old assignments, because Turnitin and any other plagiarism software does keep a copy of all your uploads in the database and it's going to be flagged. So try to, even if you're using something from an old assignment, rephrase it, and then, adjust the wording a little bit without obviously losing the essence. Okay, to make an assignment, do we need to discuss just one topic or take it from several topics and then put it together? The assignment question is going to come. It's going to be a particular question or a particular topic, and you are going to center your assignment around those topics. So it depends. If your question is centered around one topic, then it's going to be that topic that you are going to stick to. But if it's going to be, several topics or a couple of mini questions that forms an assignment, then you are going to have to address each of those questions separately, as per your assignment question paper. Is there a specific topic that we should discuss, or is it up to us? No, it's not up to you. Your assignment questions get released and there is a particular question or questions that you have to attempt or write an assignment about. What is the right tense to be used when quoting or when writing an assignment? It's going to be indirect speech. So, and past tense, because if you are writing an assignment, you are obviously going to refer to work that has been written before, concepts that have been presented before. So it's more or less going to be past tense. But it's always good to, write. It's always good to, sorry, not write, but read a couple of research articles and get familiar with the tone, and then try to, center your own writing style around that. Obviously, you are going to develop a uniqueness because everybody ends up having a distinct style, but it's always good to look at the structure of the sentences and the grammar in general. Okay, AP is American Psychological Association's referring style. Currently, 7th edition is the latest one. Yes, exactly. You can find a guide should be provided on your course page. So you can, download that guide actually, or a reference, paper, a reference paper should be on your course page. If, however, you don't have that, then you can quickly do a Google search and download the latest, manual, look it up, and, look at the guidelines over there. If you are enrolled in any course, you should also have access to the study skills package, which is a couple of sessions that covers the necessary study skills to be a good researcher / academic writer. So I think those are, maybe 3 or 5 live sessions, the recordings of which should be available. It's called the Study Skills course. So make sure that you go through that one as well. It covers all these things. It has detailed sessions on the referencing, the different styles, examples of each of them, the necessary skills that you should have as a good student, some, I think, psychological aspects of it. There's a lot of useful information in those couple of sessions. So do look on your dashboard where those are. And if you don't find them, then email help desk and they will provide you with the link to those recordings or something. It's called the Study Skills course. Make sure to check that out as well. Want to know that will midterm exam marks and assignments marks add to semester final result? Yes. In every course, I think on the course page or somewhere, you will find a rubric, and you will be able to see what weightage your midterm carries, what weightage your module tests carry, what weightage your assignment carries, and what weightage your final exam carries. So all of those components are going to contribute towards your final grade for a particular course. How do you check your plagiarism before submitting your assignment to the portal? I think there is an option of uploading your file in draft mode maybe before submission, and it would also show your similarity percentage. It used to be like that. Maybe you can ask help desk if it's still the case. If yes, then you can upload it without actually submitting it. It will stay there on the system for a couple of hours in draft mode, and then it will show you the percentage of similarity, and then you actually can upload a revised version. I think it's one attempt that you have to upload a revised version. It used to be like this, but I don't know if it's the case anymore this semester. So you might have to double check with help desk for that one. If it's not the case anymore, then like I said, make a free account on Turnitin. Use that 3-day or 7-day, or I don't know if it's 30 days, but I think it should be 7 days, around 7 days. Use that trial period in which you can access all the features on Turnitin, and within those 7 days quickly analyze all your assignments and check out your similarity percentages without having to buy Turnitin. Of course, if you want to make the investment, if it makes sense for you, then make the investment, buy a Turnitin account, and check your assignments. Okay, will there be an index in a literature review essay on a specific topic? An index in a literature review essay. doesn't necessarily have to be an index if it's just a literature review, because literature review itself is just a component. If you are writing a dissertation, or if you are writing, a uh, thesis, then you obviously have a content page. If you are writing an assignment, you can also have, after your cover page, you can have a table of contents if you like. Those things don't include in your word count, so it's a nice thing to have, but it isn't necessary in a literature review essay on a specific topic per se. Okay, going to the next. How can I know the best site to download articles or book without distorting? I think I covered lots of sites or lots of online resources that you can use. If you have questions about a specific one, then just ask that specific question. Does the word count include the references? No, generally does not. Your word count is starting with the introduction and going to the last word of your conclusion. Can we see a sample or old assignment for reference? Sure. I think if you ask your specific course instructor for a sample, they will be sure to provide one for you. If you, for the sake of, looking at the cover page and looking at the overall format or how it should look, you can ask your instructor for a sample. They will be happy to provide it for you. Clarity about the use of AI form that is signed and submitted with the assignment. How do I send the form? Last semester I joined with the assignment. However, I was told that I did not submit it. If you have problem with uploading submissions, or if your submissions are not showing, it's always good to take a screenshot, have receipts of your upload, so that if you run into some technical difficulties where somebody at the other end is saying that they don't see or they are not able to see your submission, then you can provide them with a screenshot that you did upload it. Because when you upload something, then you also get a notification that you have submitted this. So it's always good to, have screenshots, have receipts that you did in fact upload everything. And if something gets, mixed up or wrong, because it sometimes happens with online platforms that there are technicality issues, it's normal. So when you have proof that you did submit it, then you can also submit it, per email, as long as you have proof that you did in fact upload it the first time within the deadline on the portal. So hopefully that won't be a problem. Keep your receipts. Always keep your receipts. Okay, somebody said that I should have demonstrated how to do referencing for the new students. Okay, so you have the referencing styles, the guidelines on your dashboards. So there are lots of examples in those guidelines. I did not want to take up a huge chunk of this session to just do referencing. You can download any research article and look at how the in-text citations are done and the end of text references lists are organized. I did provide a summary of in-text citations that have the author and the year of publication, and your end of assignment reference list has the detailed reference. If there are any particular questions regarding a specific type of publication, then you can direct those questions to research.coordinator@iou.edu.gm. It's all small. Research.coordinator is also all small at iou.edu.gm. So if you have any particular questions regarding referencing, direct your queries and I'll be happy to answer them, inshallah. Is there any need for law students to write assignments? Assignments are an essential part, so even if you are in the faculty of law, you are going to have assignments in accordance with the courses that you are studying. Does IOU give us access to peer-reviewed scholarly work? Yes, you have an online library at your disposal and it has a huge selection. If, however, you have trouble with getting, let's say, a particular copy of a article that you want to use, we have somebody who deals with those things. You can simply email the help desk with your query and it will be directed to the relevant department and they will look into how to get you access to that particular article if it's not already on the list of resources that IOU gives access to you by default. IOU also gives you access to the whole Microsoft Office platform. So if you don't have the full version or the free, the complete version, you can also request help desk to help you with getting that subscription. IOU also provides that for you. Okay, in English assignment, there is peer editing worksheet and a self-editing worksheet. What is this? Is it a must to be done? Could you please tell more about this? What semester are you in? If you could quickly let me know what semester you're in and what course you are talking about in specific. Could you let me know your course and your semester? Because it might be a particular course where there is a component where you are supposed to cross-check assignments with other people from your course. Okay, it's the first year. So essentially, peer editing versus self-editing is if you look at your assignment and you're editing it and you are, filling in that rubric based on what you think of your assignment or what mistakes you see from that assignment. And peer editing is if somebody from your peers, classmates, does the same and fills that rubric for you. So if there is peer editing and self-editing, then you are only supposed to do the self-editing. Peer editing is not something that you are supposed to do. But you can specifically ask your course instructor who is supposed to fill up the peer editing worksheet. But as a rule, self-editing is for yourself and peer editing is for somebody else within your class. Okay, I am at the end of the questions. If there are any other questions, maybe send them in and I'll try to answer them quickly. We are way above time. More questions than I expected. I don't see any more questions. So, okay. Can we cite content from video scholars on a specific topic from YouTube? Technically, yes, you can. But it's always better to look at the scholar actually, what topic the scholar was talking about, and maybe what books the scholar did mention in his in his video, and then go back to those books and mention from those books. Technically, you can cite content from a video of a scholar, but it should be properly referenced. So it's better to look up related content from books. So once you have a certain point of view from a video, you can also look up that point of view from books and then simply cite those books. It's a more authentic way of doing it. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm going to once again mention the email. It's research.coordinator@iou.edu.gm. If you have any specific questions with regards to referencing, if you have trouble getting a response on maybe a certain guideline you might be lacking, or maybe a specific PDF that you want, then you could send those questions to me, and I will try my best to direct it to the relevant person in order to for them to get back to you as quick as possible. Okay, you can ask questions to the instructor about the assignment. No, if you are asking questions about your specific journey in the assignment, it's better to ask personally through the email provided at the course page. If there are general questions regarding the assignment deadline, any technical difficulties, any specific, anything general, you can use the student forum. But with regards to your specific assignment, it's better to, send a personal email. You have the Ask the Teacher forum. So the Ask the Teacher forum is, I think, designed for your query to go personally to the teacher. The student forum is for all the students to be able to see. The general discussion forum, I think it's called. And then you have the announcements forum where, important announcements come related to your course. So I think you can either use through email, or you can use the Ask the Teacher forum. I think that also would send your query privately to the teacher. Okay, we have no more questions, so I'm going to thank each and every one of you for attending. Jazakallah khair for making the time. Like I said, if you are in the more advanced semesters of your degree and you are already well versed with referencing, then it shouldn't be a problem for you. If you are still in the first semester and you have additional questions with regards to referencing, don't hesitate to direct them to the email that I have just provided to you. And inshallah, if there are any specific questions related to your course in general, related to your assignments in general, always reach out to the course instructor. It's what their contact is there for. They will get back to you. However, given the difference in time zones, because it is a global student body and our instructors are also scattered around the globe in different time zones, always let help desk and your instructor have at least 48 hours to respond. Sometimes students send an email, and if a response doesn't come back in a couple of hours, they tend to get, anxious and start, sending emails upon emails. Also, do note that the help desk uses a ticketing system, and your query will be addressed in the order in which it is received by the system. So always allow for a minimum of 24 to 48 hours for a response to come in. However, if a couple of days go by and your query is not answered, then you may escalate the question and try to get a response, inshallah. For any sample assignments, always ask your relevant course instructor if they are able to redact personal assignments and send a sample to you. And make use of the resources that are provided to you. On the course page, there are lots of resources. There are manuals for the APA. There are supplementary reading materials for you. So always make use of those materials. Plan your time, hold yourself accountable, set milestones for yourself, and those milestones should preferably be a couple of days before the official university deadlines. If you hold yourself accountable, finish all the tasks, including the assignments, the module tests, and all the other stuff that you have to go through, the reading that you need to do, the lectures that you need to listen to. If you finish those according to your own timeline and you still have a couple of extra days, you are going to be very, very, very surprised what those couple of extra days can do for you. And the amount of tasks you can accommodate in those couple of extra days. It can be used to improve your assignments. It can be improved to double check on your concepts, and it is going to help you improve your grade in the long term. So make a schedule for yourself and have that schedule end a couple of days before the official, deadline. So that's going to be really helpful for you. Once again, Jazakallah khair, Barakallah feekum. I hope and pray for all the good things for you along your journey. Try to learn as much as you can. Do as much as research as your time allows you to. Attempt your assignment questions with the intention that it's going to make you someone with more critical understanding, more insight, more reflection, and more sense on the topic. Not just for your own sake, but for the sake of having to one day maybe explain it to somebody else who is struggling. You never know when the knowledge that you gained comes in handy and you are able to benefit somebody else with that knowledge. So don't take it as just another task on a tick list to getting a degree, but treat it as a unique opportunity that has been given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to really improve yourself, be a better version of yourself, and help others become a better version of themselves, inshallah. And it will all be rewarded for you, both in this world and the next, inshallah. So with that, I leave you in the care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And personally, if there are any errors, I would like to apologize because we are all human. Anything good that came from me today is by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and anything unbeneficial that came is obviously from the other party that tries to, lead us to a point where something that's not beneficial should be coming out of our mouth. So we all strive to avoid that as much as possible. But in the end, trying is all we can do, inshallah. So, Jazakallah khairan once again and barakallah feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.